happy birthday. Happy Earth Day, everybody. We are going to be celebrating Earth Day today by planting the native plants that we got from the Education Edge grant. So, in order to prepare, I just want to talk to you about some things that we're going to be doing while we're outside. Obviously, you guys know that native plants attract wildlife, including bees, butterflies, and birds. And that's because native plants actually come from the place where they are planted. So, our native plants come from the plains of Kansas and other states around us, okay? So, today you're going to learn how to plant and care for these plants. Here's the garden I planned. Our section right here is there, and then Miss Erickson's and Mr. Jenny's are back there. When we get outside, each of the potted plants you'll see in a hole, okay? That's where the plants actually have to be planted, is where the hole is, okay? You're going to write your name with a Sharpie on the white labels of your plants. So you're going to each get one plant. Each of you are going to write your name on the labels. After you clean off the label a little bit, you'll get a Sharpie and you'll write your name on it. That way you guys will take ownership of that plant and make sure that it's taken care of this year and hopefully on into next year. I will tell you which plant that you're going to be responsible for, and then I'm going to ask you to weed around that plant. So we already tilled up the earth using a rototiller. Now what you're going to see is that there's some of the plants, like the grasses, are dry and there might be some new weeds coming out. You don't want those dried grasses to stay there because they are so strong. Even though they're dried, they can take root again and start growing again. So you need to remove all of the dead things that look dead away from the place where you're planting and in the perimeter around that plant. Then you're going to dig the hole deeper, okay? Because I just made a little tiny hole, like maybe that deep, and your pots are about that high. So you need to make sure that your entire plant, along with the pot, can fit back into the hole. You're not going to keep the pot on it, but that's a good test. So the top of the pot should be even with the ground. Hold your questions. Then turn the pot upside down with your other hand beneath it. So here's my plant. I turn it upside down and I give it a quick shake like that, and it should just pop out. If it doesn't, then you might need to, from the bottom of the plant, you might see some roots that have grown over the bottom of the pot. You just remove those roots and try again. If you have too much trouble, you can ask Miss Mickey or myself to help you. Any questions so far?
So when you said that we're going to be writing our names to take ownership and hopefully they'll stay until next year?
Yeah.
I'm probably not going to be here next year, so will
Okay.
it still be taken care of?
Yeah, it'll still be taken care of. I have put in an irrigation system, and I also have a sprinkler that will help. But if there's a particularly dry day and we just want to get out in the garden and do some other lessons that are related to gardening or related to native plants and wildlife, we can go out and take advantage of that.
You said flip the pot upside down. Wouldn't it squish the top of the plant?
Well, you're not going to put the plant necessarily into your hand. So when you shake it, it's just going to like have the root ball of the plant, which is the soil with the roots in it. They're just going to pop into your other hand. Okay? If you have too much trouble, we'll help you. Any other questions before we go on? So the next step is planting your plant. You're going to put the plant with its roots first into the hole, and then the dirt that you dug out of the hole, you're going to surround around that plant and its root ball. You want to make sure that there's no holes in the ground anymore, okay, and that it feels nice and cozy in that hole. And then you're going to put the label next to your plant. So here's your plant. You'll just stick that white label in. It not only has your name on it, but identifies the plant's name and some other characteristics about the plant. Then when everybody's done planting, we're going to use the watering can to water the plant. And you just kind of need to watch when we're watering to make sure that you know how much water to put in the future if we go back out to water again. And just keep an eye on your plant. Make sure people take care of it if they're out in the schoolyard, okay, in the future. I look forward to documenting with you the growth of our plants and the habitat that they provide to wildlife in the future. Any questions? So what we're going to do when we're outside is we're going to be doing all those things we went through, but I want you to focus on some different things. So in collaboration with one another, we need to do some things like When we're in the hallways, we're going to be working at voice level 0. Not working, we're going to be walking through the hallways at voice level 0. And we're outside on the patio, voice level 1 or 2, so that you can hear if me or Miss Mickey or somebody else needs to talk to you. And there's some other really good things that we need to take care of. So one is we need to make sure that we're not stepping on plants that belong in the garden, okay? And that when we're in the garden, when we're finished, we're going to use the shovels to help us to clean off the bottom of our shoes because there's a little bit of mud and we don't want to be tracking it back into the school, right? So I think I've covered most of the bases, and if I've forgotten anything, I'll bring that up in a bit. So go ahead, let's line up at the door, voice level 0, take your things.